And we'll go ahead and get started with Joey Johnston today.
Hey, Coach, could you speak about the goal line stand that you guys had against Florida? Some of the players had mentioned, how enthused that made them to have a moment like that. What made it successful, and how that can be something you can build on.
Yeah, one of the few bright spots we had.
Yep.
Yeah, we were, just in our base goal line. Some teams do a lot of stuff about slipping a tight end out off play action because they know you can't let them run the ball, so you have to kind of sell out for the run and then have the awareness of your man trying to slip out as opposed to blocking the next man down. Seen it happen both ways. I've seen the kid just freeze, and we did let him go for a second, but we had the right mindset to catch up and realize it's a desperation deal. What I like about it is they were in that moment. It wasn't what we did the first half or whatever what we did earlier, giving up big plays. It was all about that one play, and as a coach, you build off that. Whether you're doing great, you're doing bad, it's got to be that next play has a life of its own. So, I think they had that mentality. It's just nice to have a little success doing something.
Yeah. Obviously, the big plays are still a concern, but the competition level is extremely high in your first two games. Do you feel like this is going to level off here, or you just taking big bites right off the bat, and it's going to get better here?
Well, a lot of factors go into the big plays. Some of it's pass rush, some of it's missed tackles, and some of it is coverage technique. So there's a lot of reasons for those big plays. In every one of them, there's reasons. There's things that can be corrected. What you don't like as a coach, just if you're there for a 50-50 ball and they're just out athleting you, and you're there to compete, that's good. You don't like the missed tackles when you have one-on-one opportunity to tackle. That's frustrating because sometimes people are making tackles come off the block. Now, if you're free, it's your job. You gotta get them down. And then pursuit angles off the backside to keep a missed tackle becoming a 70, 80-yard run is big too. So I'm kind of wandering around here, but most definitely we've got to get that right. We got to limit the explosive plays, and usually comes down to tackling or some technique issues. Point of emphasis: keep stressing it, right, and just demanding excellence out of it. You're hoping, week by week, it's a different life, and you're hoping the next week we show some improvement there.
Thank you.
Leo Haggerty.
Coach, along that same lines, tackling has almost become a lost art because you really can't work on it as much as you like at practice. Because you're afraid of getting people hurt. What can you do at practice to improve tackling and still make it safe? Or is that just an oxymoron?
Oh, it is now. Especially when we have 3 or 4 guys out on the back end. Kids that should be playing a lot of ball for us right now. So now you go to backups, and now when those backups happens, you need to show up at the game healthy and ready to go. I know that much. I battle with that every day. We do have a tackling circuit. We work angle tackle. We work open field tackle. We work block, needing to feed a block tackle. We get a goal line. Now, I don't know what the answer is, because sure enough, the shoulder pops out there, or somebody gets torqued the wrong way. But it's a delicate balance. But I do know one thing: we've got to do it better. The only way I know how to do it is to keep drilling it, emphasizing it, and it doesn't matter. Nobody really cares who's out. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, your name's on it, their name's on it, our name's on it. At the end of the day, whoever those 11 are out there are expected to perform. So that's the life, the world that we're living in right now. So we got to get it done, and we are working on it, emphasizing it, but got to be smart too. You better get to the game, with some good athletes that are healthy.
Will Turner.
Good morning, Coach. Obviously, one of those guys that looks like he could get some more, run down the stretch of the season is Brock Nichols. I mean, had a huge pick against Florida late in that game. Has played a lot of different positions. I mean, just how could you see him kind of taking a bigger role and maybe even as a starter?
Well, he's got a bigger role. I mean, just a couple of injuries we had the last couple of weeks, so his role is bigger. And he's going to play a ton of reps. Might even start. That's what we try to tell these guys. You always got to be ready. You're sitting there and you're in spring ball or fall camp and you think you're a backup and think, all right, I might get some mop up reps. I better. No, you better be ready to play that week. And you tell them as a coach, it never really hits home. But boy, these last 2 weeks, has hit home in my room. And those guys are like, whoa, all of a sudden, I got to get it done. And it doesn't matter. Again, nobody wants an excuse. They just want somebody out there to get it done. So it's been a wake-up call for a lot of them in there. The few that are left, it's a wake-up call. You better have your A game ready to call. There's a lot of people in that room that are counting on me and you. So I think because of that, the intensity of the preparation, some of those guys just thought they were backups and now they're not, is a lot higher. So it's a good point, though. He better be ready all the time, and his role is huge now, for sure.
Does it register with have you seen it register with some of those guys? Have you seen the light bulb kind of go off with some of those guys that you mentioned? That were backups coming to the year. Is it starting to click that, hey, they're gonna have to do it? Right.
I mean, that really showed up, from a couple of things that happened last week and this week's practice. You had to pull some more guys up, and sudden the older guys that are in the room were going, hey kid, you're not a scout team guy anymore. Whether you thought you were ready or not, your role is to help us win, like now, not week 10, week 11, like now, week 3. And it's left to be seen, if that light's come on. We're stressing it and working it, but you never know how those guys are going to react in a game type atmosphere, in a game type situation. We're just giving them reps and working them hard, and they're watching tape, and they're mentally, I think they're ready. At least they think they are. We just have to find out. See who gets those reps and their quality reps on Saturday.
Joey Johnston.
Hey, Coach, you are right. It is true. Nobody cares. It's just next man up, and they're not going to, buy into the woe of injuries. But still, the secondary, it seems like a string of just, unfortunate incidents have happened. It started with Will Jones. I know the circumstances of that. Was that like a gut punch, that the way that happened, and the proximity to the season opener? I mean, I know you got to keep moving, but was that particularly difficult to see that happen?
They all are, but when you're coaching, it's like you have to flip the switch. You hate it for the kid, and you talk to him now, and he's walk around on crutches. And it was a gut punch because it was 10 minutes left on a Thursday practice, and just a freak, just non-contact, came down on it wrong, and it makes you sick then. But you don't have time to worry about it on the field. I hate it for the kid and talked to him numerous times and encouraging him, you're going to come back strong. But as a coach that's responsible for that next man up mentality, can't think about it. It's just, all right, next man, let's go. Let's get ready. You're the guy, and might not have played much, and it doesn't matter. We're expecting you to win for us on Saturday. And if he doesn't do well, you just keep coaching your tail off. That's what else can you do? What's the other option? There is no other option. So maybe when I was a young coach, I might put my head down, but no. At the end of the day, it's a South Florida Bowl defense out there. period.
And also in the second half against Florida, besides the goal line stand, you got two big picks that led to things. How nice was it to see some takeaways, and how much spirit did that give the guys to do some things on defense like that?
Oh, it was great. 2 fourth down stops during the day and 2 turnovers. We're actually good in third down. I think we were at 66%. But it's deceiving, right? If you stink on first and second down, third down doesn't matter. Now, if you have a lot more third downs and your percentage is that high, it's excellent too. Red zone was good with a fourth down stop, but for giving up chunk plays so it's those goals can. You gotta find good, right? You gotta. If not, I could just go in there and we could just beat them to death, and all of a sudden there's no confidence, and these coaches don't believe in us, they don't believe in me, and that's so not true. There's enough good in there, right, to build on. It's just the consistency level and getting those guys ready, maybe that didn't think they were going to be playing, to perform. And they're here, they're in that jersey. We all are expected to perform, and there's enough good in there to build on. We just need some success. We need for it to show in the scoreboard. At the end of the day, it's all about winning, right? And we got to find a way to win a game. Period. We got to find a way to win. That's the goal this week. Be 1-0. Period. Don't look back, right? We got corrected those mistakes. Look for tomorrow's practice, really.
Thanks.
Coach Turner.
Quickly getting into Florida A&M, I mean, they're kind of in a similar situation with their quarterbacks, going through 2 guys, got a good running back, a lot of speed on the outside. What stands out about the Rattlers on film to you?
Like you said, the explosiveness of some speed. They got top end speed out of that tailback position, and a couple of their receivers can take the top off when they want to. They're very similar. There's some carryover in the offenses, which is good for us. Very efficient in the screen game, bubble screen games. That's their version of the tall sweep. They're going to get it out there in space and try to make you tackle in space. That's worrisome to me. You got to round them up. You got to get numbers to the ball, and you got to have tremendous effort for those big perimeter screen teams like that. You got to stop the run. You got to stop running. Whatever, it's just you can go back to the offenses and the good players and missed tackles. Yeah, all that's true. And until we show them the field, you don't win games if you don't do that. And we have to do that this week. We have to get better. We're not going to have a perfect game. We're not going to have a perfect game. There's going to be some mistakes. There always is. But in those 70 plays, we better win more than we lose, and we better limit the explosive plays and stop the run. If we do that, we'll have a chance to be successful.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Coach Weis in here.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
My
desk. Last time to shower? Probably not.
Okay. Sorry, tight today. Take a question for Coach Weis. Joey Johnston, go ahead and get us started.
Coach, could you assess so far the play of the offensive line, both against the run and protecting the quarterback?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of things to clean up, but we've seen a lot of good moments watching the tape. I think we have a lot of confidence in our offensive line. Obviously, we got to do a little bit more to show that in the game and how we play. But I think there's a lot of encouraging things that we're seeing from that group as they continue to mesh and continue to work together. We got to limit the amount of TFLs that we have, and that's not only on that group too. That's quarterback decision making, and that's running backs too, making sure they're hitting the right spots and all that. So we got to clean that up a little bit. Pass protection, I think we're only at 1 sack on the season so far, which is certainly a good thing. Is progress. The first sack of the game was on a quick game pass too. So I think there's a lot of encouraging things. Plenty of things to clean up. The biggest things, we got to eliminate the negative plays and continue to build on those positive plays and make those plays continue to go.
And also, we've seen smatterings of a running game, a good running game between your guys. And I know a lot of it's dictated by game situation. Maybe you get away from do it. But if you're on top of it, do you see the potential for maybe be able to impose your will and establish a running game with this group? What you've seen so far?
I definitely do. I think we've seen, against two really good opponents, some really dang good run looks. And I know it's not been perfect. It hasn't been clean, but we see a lot of potential there, that we could be a really good running football team, which when you can do that helps a lot of aspects of the game out. So I think that's something that we're continuing to work on this week and towards the future. That's something that we can build on. We got a good group of running backs. I think we're pretty deep at that position. I think they do a lot of things really well. Got some different guys with different talents, and our quarterbacks can run the ball as well. So I think as we continue to go, I think we've seen a little bit that we can have a really good running football team as we move forward.
Will Turner.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You look at Florida A&M and their defense have allowed 7 points, obviously, in each of their first two games. And I think a lot of people might, obviously, with it being an FCS opponent, a lot of people might underrate what their defense has done. When you look at it on film, they got a ton of speed, but what else stands out to you?
I think it's the two things that stand out is, number one, you mentioned it, that their speed in the back end is really good. Their safeties and their nickel Sam do a really good job. Play fast, play physical, take away a lot of things right there. And then the other thing I think is they're extremely well coached. Those guys do a great job on their defensive staff. Those guys know exactly where they're supposed to be. They know how to fit plays. They know what, they do a good job. It looks like they know what the offense is doing and trying to attack, and they're very sound. So they don't really get out of place very much. They're going to make you have to execute to beat them. They just do a fantastic job of being coached in the back end and up front. So I think they're well coached, great team speed, and that's obviously, a recipe for a really good defense.
And, one of their huge additions this offseason was that on the back end, and Antoine Collier, the former UCF Knight. I mean, has he popped on film to y'all this week? Yeah.
And when I saw the depth chart this week, I remember playing him in 2019 when I was at FAU, and he made a whole bunch of plays that day. So, immediately when that came out, it's like, okay, they got a good safety in the back end. He's a fantastic football player. He's good against the run and the pass. He's very athletic, got some length to him, runs around pretty good. They match him up on the slots, and he does some really good things. So he's definitely somebody our guys need to be aware of, both their safeties. And so, he definitely stand out. But I knew right away from playing him when I was at FAU.
Leo Haggerty.
Coach, normally you give 80 to 90% of the reps to your starting quarterback. Not giving any names, but how are you breaking up the reps this week with your QBs?
Yeah, I mean, we're not quite like 80, 90. We do a little bit more of two groups here to make sure that we get all of our guys prepared. So I'd say it's, about 50-50. So getting those guys the reps that they need. And, so it just depends on the day and the reps and what we're actually running and all that stuff right there to kind of piece it all together. But, it's pretty close to 50-50. And then as we go forward, that could obviously change depending on, whoever takes the lead on this thing.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Joey Johnston.
Coach Xavier Weaver has only caught 4 passes, but he leads the nation in yards per catch. So it may be in a smaller sample size. He shows great explosiveness and game-changing ability. Is this what you foresaw for him? And do you see him being that guy the rest of the year that can break open a game and really change a game?
100%. He's a guy that from spring ball to fall camp, he was one of the guys that was always making plays. Definitely the down the field stuff he's great at, but he's good at the intermediate stuff as well. And I think we've targeted him a good bit, but we need to give him more catchable balls. And so anytime that ball's somewhere near his catch radius, that guy comes down with it. Just like you saw when he ran that post from backed up on our own 1 yard line. Timmy gave him a great ball, and he can extend the hands, can catch that thing with the person on his back. So he's a guy that we're going to continue to target, continue to go after, and obviously we're going to get to him deep. We're going to get him to it in the intermediate and short game as well. But he's a guy we're definitely going to count on to be one of the leaders of our offense.
And yesterday, Coach Scott was talking to us, and he was describing a play. I think Timmy was in, and it was a bad snap. And the ball was on the ground, but it Xavier was releasing. Was that a touchdown if you execute the snap? What did you see on film there?
It's going to be a huge gain. So we were running 4 vertical concept out of empty with 3 receivers into the boundary. And they, it was a tempo call after hitting that deep post right there. So they were all kind of out of sorts, getting lined up. And, Xavier did a great job of staying, right outside the hash like we coached him to do. In the middle field, safety was cheated to the field. If it wasn't a touchdown, we'd have the ball on about the 15 to the 10-yard line right there going in. And it would have given us a lot of momentum in the game. So it's just, you got to show the players that, hey, it's just a little tiny details of everything that we do, can be the difference. We end up, going, don't get a first down after that right there. It goes to like 2nd and 13, and then we end up punting right there. So definitely disappointed not to execute that, but it would have been a huge play.
Anything on the execution of I think it was two bad snaps that you saw. Was it Timmy? Was it the center, or just, bad timing, or what happened?
It's a combination of both. Timmy was actually kind of the snap was hot at him right there. He certainly could have caught it just a little bit to his right there. But, as quarterback, we got to catch it. And as the center, we got to give the quarterback a good snap right there. So I think, Brad was probably just a little twitched up being on the 1-yard line right there. So just got to do a better job on that. We've gone out and practiced this week and had no snap issues. We go out, we do our quarterback center exchange to start every single practice. And then we do it at the end of practice as well now, just to make sure that nothing like that happens again. And then the second snap, I was just a little bit low. And, that one's probably a little bit more on Brad, but Timmy could have caught that one as well. Just been a little bit low and to his left right there.
Will Turner?
I was going back and taking a look at Cade on third down in particular in that first half, and it looked like, for the most part, I think he converted 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and was money inside of 5 yards. Had one 3rd and 1 on a Darian Felix run that didn't go y'all's way.
Right.
When you look at Cade specifically, how important is it for him to be able to stay on schedule? Because every time it got to a 3rd and 6 and beyond, it looked like he just wasn't able to convert.
Yeah, I think, that was one of the major keys to the game when we were having our Friday night meeting with our players. So Florida's defense coordinator, Todd Grantham, he does a great job on 3rd down of being very exotic, which if you watch the tape, I'm sure you saw that. So, our game plan was we were going to go tempo anytime it was, 3rd and 1 to 6 right there, trying to, number one, we're hammering our players to stay ahead of the sticks on 1st and 2nd down, which is where they're much more simple. We execute on 1st, 2nd down, get us into 3rd manageable situations, we'll be able to pick up the 1st down. You get into the 3rd and long, there's a lot more protection problems, getting IDs a certain way and all that stuff right there. So when we were able to stay on track and stay on schedule early in the game, we were having some success on 3rd down. But when we were getting to 3rd and longer, we didn't. And it certainly calls that we could have given the players a better spot right there too. But yes, it was definitely much harder when we got to the 3rd and long situations. Kind of that was the kind of our game plan going in, is stay in those 3rd and shorts where we can go tempo, get a quick call in and execute. And Kay did a great job. And then 3rd longers, we still got to execute and do a little bit better job, but definitely a harder situation to convert.
And just a quick follow-up with that in particular, maybe the Florida game isn't the greatest game to kind of pull this front, or maybe, however to phrase it. But what do you guys have to do to start, getting a 3rd and 10 or getting a 3rd and 11 and picking those up? Because those are huge if you can get them. Absolutely.
They are huge. And so, and anytime you're getting a 3rd and 10 conversion, it's normally an explosive play. You can get to a tempo call immediately after that. A lot of times that's hard for a defense because they're in a dime personnel grouping, and now you're going fast and they got to go fit an inside zone. So doing things like that. And it's all about practice execution and doing the things that we're supposed to do. So going against the Gators front, obviously we knew they're very impressive, and we'd have to do a great job of getting some chip help on the defensive ends, which we did a few times, and do some things like that. And, we just got to do a little bit better job. But in practice this week, we've come out, we've attacked it. And that's certainly an area that we need to improve, is any 3rd and 6 plus. We've got to be able to get those conversions right there, because they happen. There's times where the defense is going to make a play. You take a shot, don't hit it. 2nd and 10, you get a short run, and now it's a 3rd and 8 or something like that. You got to go convert. So it all starts in practice, owning the game plan, mastering the game plan, and then going out and execute.
problem.
Thank you, guys.